It's in-game live prime time. Hour number one of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time. Watching and, more importantly, betting and hopefully winning with the boys in Vegas on the world of sports. Ah, yes. Nice slate of college basketball. We got a decent number of NBA games. Nothing crazy, but a couple of decent ones. And then 3 NHL games as the NHL continues its all-star break. Actually, before the break, I don't get it. But anyway, my partner in crime for the next 2 glorious hours, Mr. Sharapan. What's going on, Dave? What are you rocking tonight? Little Brooklyn Nets. KD return to the borough named Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
Big Nets fan tonight. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 5th game of a 7-game road trip for the Nets. They've split 2-2 so far. Road favorite. I love home dogs. I like home dogs in college basketball. I said, you know what? I get to break out the Brooklyn Nets hat once or twice a year because they're mostly irrelevant. There's not too many times you're backing them. I said, Wetzel, New York guy. Jack, New York guy. We'll talk about some New York basketball tonight. That's not the Knicks. We talked enough about the Knicks yesterday. They clipped it. They put it out there. Everyone out west was asking me, what are you, a Knicks fan? I said, listen, we do the show. We got to talk about stuff. The Knicks are playing well. It was one of the easiest plays we had ever yesterday. Short number. They win easy. So, yeah, Nets tonight, plus 3.5. I think we'll talk about that game in a little bit.
All right. By the way, just going to throw it out there. We got 2 hockey games. One's after the first period. One's late first period. Any guess how many goals we had in the first 5 minutes of both games?
0.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah.
2-0 so far out of the 3 games. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. We beat the boys in Vegas. Listen, we're going to crack Vegas. By the time you guys get out to Vegas, the doors are going to be broken down. Fortunately for Vegas, there's no hockey games. Otherwise, we'd all be rich right now. There's only 3.
So we talked about this. I brought this up to Peralt on Bostonian versus the book. I said, Wetzel has cracked the code, not the Da Vinci code, the goal in the first 5-minute code. All right. And we talked about it. I got PSU Auto. He got in the chat. He was texting. He was giving out the numbers. He said he's onto something. He did a bunch of 7 parlays on Saturday, 14 games, 2-game parlays. He went 6 out of 7. If he keeps this up, they're going to flag his account. The All-Star break is coming at a perfect time. So, we can get in quick, get out, let it die down, play some college baskets and some other NBA. And then when it starts back up after the Super Bowl, we'll jump right back in. I like it.
I looked it up. I did a couple of games. Good news, bad news. With this latest game, let me just mark it down on my piece of paper here so I don't forget. Out of the last 25 games played, no goal first period has come in 22 out of the 25. 22-3. Now, I will say I did go back like one day further on Thursday, I think it was, Thursday or Wednesday last week, and there were like 9 games, and it did happen like 4 or 5 times. So it does happen. We're just in one of these streaks where it's not happening,
You're in a good stretch. You ride the good stretch. That's good. I mean, 22 out of 25, almost 90%. So, when we get an A, if we were in school, maybe an A minus, B plus. It's right around that number, depending on the grading scale. But that's good. That's, it's a night before the All-Star break, officially. But like you said, 1 game here, 2 games here, 3 games tonight. Look like all unders to me. When I looked at the board this morning, I just went under. Even Detroit and Ottawa. That's the first game. If that's any other week than this week, that's an over game. But I said, nah, not tonight. The guys already got trips planned to Cabo or, somewhere, Bermuda. They're going away. They're not going to the All-Star game. They're going on vacation. And this starts tonight. So good. I like where we're at. We're going to keep this up. You got to remember, put it in your notes. Do you carry the piece of paper around in a notebook? Like you when you log this stuff, like you look down or is it just fold up and go in your pocket or inside your sport coat?
On my computer, and the brain. The brain, you'd be surprised how much I still rely on the brain. But basically, on a computer, create an email, and then I'll email myself. I'll create a little WordPerfect file, and then go through all those notes the next day and write them down on my main page. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
does it have a black cloud file? Does it have a black cloud play of the night file?
I do have a black cloud file. I do. Which, by the way, did hit last night. We hit with Colorado State.
Easy.
Well, I love that. I love those situational plays. Could I name, Dave, one player on Colorado State? No.
Doesn't matter.
Who could, right? Who could, right? But
somebody could. I
know the situations. You blow an 11-point lead with a minute left, you're going to be fired up next time out, right?
Yeah. Well, what are you coming with today? Give the people the black cloud. Tell Jack, play the thing. Let's go. Come on, we're going to get this.
All right, here we go. The black cloud time. All right, this has got, I don't like betting into bad lines or what I call sucker lines, but maybe there's a reason for this line. We're going to go college basketball tonight. They're going to tip off here in a little while. We got Rutgers hosting Penn State. Now, Rutgers just held one of the best teams in the nation, Purdue, to 68 points. They're a strong under team, especially at home. 13-6 under overall, 8-3 at home. They're hosting Penn State, which does like to score. They're a halfway decent over team, believe it or not. But, it's Rutgers at home. Home teams generally control the tempo. I'm going to go under 143.5 Penn State at Rutgers. I just think that number I expected that number to be in the 130s or so. Like, this is a similar number to what Purdue had against Rutgers. And again, that went way under, 128 points. So if Purdue can't produce an over, how is Penn State going to produce an over? And like I said, that's a pretty good number, 143.5. So, and a lot of Penn State overs are not because they're putting 80 points on the board. It's because they're allowing 80 points. And I don't think Rutgers is going to put 80 points on the board. So this has got 70, 65 at best written all over it, Dave. So what do you think?
I'm impressed. I looked at this game and thought, the side is hard. The number's perfect. 6.5. Too tough to pick a side. The steam is against you. My odds screen here that I'm looking at is on 144.5 or 145 in places. So the steam is on the over. That doesn't mean anything. The steam is wrong all the time. I mean, you touch the steam sometimes and you get burned. True. So, we got I wish I had the hood. I'd put it up for the black cloud at work yesterday. I'm a little superstitious about that, but I don't have it. That can get there. That's good. We'll keep an eye on that game. I wasn't expecting the Rutgers and Penn State game to even make the list tonight. Did Jack make you pick that?
No, all on my own. How about that?
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices. And we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on Sports Grid.
I kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction, or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you should, that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the RAC. It was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like OKC just rolling into Detroit, but like, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in-game live, prime time here. Hour number one just getting underway. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan on this wild, wacky Wednesday where we have a in-game live number. A little different than what it was to start, Dave, but college basketball jumped off the page. Notre Dame and Boston College, or Virginia, rather. Notre Dame, Virginia.
Notre Dame and Virginia.
Notre Dame, Virginia. Yeah, right. Where I got Boston College from. Opened up right around 115.5. Like, who could play that, right? But I heard myself telling myself, these numbers, I've said it before, when they start at like 115 in the teens, these games do go under. I think it went to as low as 113.5, did it not, before they actually tipped off?
Yes, it did. I couldn't wait to talk to you about this because we always look at numbers, and that's one of the lower ones at close, right? And while we're doing the in-game, we'll be able to see how low will it go. And we did this the other night. We played the limbo. How low will the total go? I didn't look right now. What is it right now? I'm not looking. Did it get to 106, 105? Are we in that number?
No. It's up to 120.5, believe it or not. They had 61 points at halftime. They had a flurry like the last 3 minutes. They had about 45 with 3 minutes left, and they just hit a bunch of shots, I guess. So it's at a, relatively normal pace right now.
That's basically a scoring explosion for Virginia.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. 120.5, 48-37 with 11.5 minutes to go in the second half. Okay, good. So, I don't know. We got to start looking at teams and like being able to play a different style game every once in a while. And if Virginia can actually play a game that can be on an overpace and score, maybe we'll see them make a little bit of a run come the end of February into March. It's good to see. I like that because we're starting to really pigeonhole teams and look at teams and go Tennessee lost yesterday at home as a 15-point favorite to South Carolina. And you start to look at that and you're like, geez, they can only play one way. And if they're not top scorers, not scoring, they can't win. They didn't win. So that's the stuff we look at in a book all the time. Like, you just got to kind of see, all right, where do we go here? Where do we go here? How does this number get adjusted? So it's good to know. What other game did you look at college-wise? I mean, because Kentucky and Florida is underway. They're 6 minutes in, and that was one.
How about Purdue trailing to Northwestern?
Right.
How about that? Six minutes left. Then we're not talking like first 5 minutes of the game. 6 minutes, 5 minutes left. Actually, they're now taking a 71-70 lead. Love the over in
of
that
the
one.
Big Ten.
That was 140.5, dude. I did have the over. They played, who'd they play last? The last game they had Rutgers. I had the under there. But they played somebody, Michigan, I think it was the time before that. And it went
Who's that,
under.
Purdue?
So I kind of, who'd they play?
Purdue
it was the Rutgers
played
game.
Rutgers, Michigan, and then they were at Iowa before that.
Iowa and Michigan. I had them, and they both went under. And I was like, fudge, right? So I just, how are they not going to have 141 points at home against Northwestern? I mean, Purdue, I figured was going to put 100 on the board after, barely beating Rutgers. And here they are. They're down 2. But the over-under is way over. It already went over. Now it's at 164.5. But you can get Purdue pick 'em right now. 4 minutes left, down 2 against Northwestern. They're going to lose to Northwestern at home?
I don't think so.
You got to put that bid in. You got to put that bid in, right?
What do you make of the Big Ten? I'm not sure. Like we were talking about yesterday and evaluating conferences and stuff. I don't know what to make of the Big Ten because, as basketball fans and people that pay attention to this stuff for numbers and odds and bets and stuff, Purdue's always a top seed. They're always up there. And then they disappoint every March. Every single year. They got everything set up now to basically win the Big Ten, get a 1 seed, have the big guy in the middle. They have all the pieces in place. Are they a championship team? Because I'm not sure what the Big Ten is. I think the Big Ten is a lot of mediocre.
Yeah. I feel bad for this Purdue team. I really do because, Dave, you go back to Gene Cady, right? When you start listing all the greatest coaches of all time that have never got to the Final Four, like he's near the top of the list, right? I mean, they were always good. Glenn Robinson, they had great teams, great players, yet never could get to the Final Four. And things haven't changed with Matt Painter the 15, 20 years or whatever it's been since he's been there. But they're always good. But to think this year's going to be any different, I mean, you'd have to be nuts to put a ticket in on Purdue to win it all, right? I mean, so... And every time
Especially
I bet on this
number.
Edey kid and watch him play, he's like in foul trouble the first 5 minutes. I mean, you talk about the black cloud. I mean, I'm guessing he's really good, but, I mean, not when I bet on him. I'll tell you that.
Don't put that on him. Don't put that on.
Yeah.
Don't put that black cloud on Purdue. They have enough things working already. All right? And when Edey gets in foul trouble, yes, obviously, less minutes on the floor means less everything for Purdue. I don't know. I've seen it for a long, long time. I mean, I was at Penn State. I saw Gene Cady come in and coach. I saw Glenn Big Dog Robinson play in person. Yeah. I mean, it was fantastic. Yeah. I was at school when they came to the Big Ten the first year. I went to every single basketball game. It was so much fun. Fab Five, Indiana Hoosiers with, Bobby Knight and Calbert Chaney, and then Purdue. So from a distance, I've always I'm still a Big Ten guy at heart. I want to see Purdue do good, but I don't know what to make of the conference. I don't know if Wisconsin's good. I don't know. I mean, you always hear Michigan State's going to be there. Purdue's the best team in a mediocre conference. And a team like Northwestern at home, really live dog, especially when when they're getting points. But this was not supposed to be Northwestern winning the game tonight,
right,
Scott? No, I was maybe cover, but not win the game. They can win the game.
This is I get a ticket to the NCAA tournament type of win for Northwestern. They're going to be one of those bubble teams.
Yep.
And you not only are you beating a top tier team, you're beating a top tier team on the road if it ends up them winning and they're up 2 with 3 minutes left. That is, in their little scale there where they're ranking wins and whatever, that's like top notch. You don't get any higher than that's a 10 in that goofy scale that they have.
I cannot figure out now that the football's done, got 1 game left. The quadrants is a quadrant 1 win, the quadrant 2 win. I hated geometry. That was my worst subject. I just didn't like it. I was good at math, took, trig, calc, all that stuff. That's fine. But the shapes and the sizes and the quadrants, when a quad 1 win and when they got the quad 2 win and when this and that, my head starts hurting. I got to ask Jack, please make it all make sense. you extrapolate it out on the chart, you put the pie chart, and then you go up. And I cannot figure out the quadrants. I don't know. It's a very confusing time of year for me, Scott. You're going to have to keep it straight when we do the shows because I'm not good at it.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm not either, but I'll try my best. But it is so goofy. And so just who did you beat? Whether it was on the road or at home, okay. But just look at the teams also and figure out who's the better team. So, but this would be a notch, no doubt. This would be a huge notch on the shoulders. So I like, Providence is going to tip off here in a little while. I do like the Friars. They're getting 13 at UConn, Battle of New England, Dave. Good little rivalry there. 8 of the last 9, I looked it up, have been decided by 12 points or less, and we're getting 13. So it's generally close games, a lot of overtime games. If they got a little bet on will the game go to overtime, that's happened a few times in this 9-game stretch here. So Providence, maybe not on UConn's level, but they got that number 1 black cloud on UConn. So you want to give me 13 points, 12 and a half, 13 points with the Friars? I'll take that. I'll take a crack on that.
Can't get out of my head Tennessee, same number yesterday, lose outright. So you got to think on a very small level, Providence live to win a game outright, but that's a lot of points. These tight conference games, double digits.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division.
I don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but a total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on Sports Grid.
I kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you should, that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like, OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
All right, welcome back. It's InGame Live Prime Time. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan here on a Wednesday evening. Kind of a pregnant pause here with the Super Bowl. It's kind of like that line in the sand of, all right, we're kind of done with the NFC, AFC championship games. Not quite really, for me anyway, into the Super Bowl and some of the props. And I'll delve into that a little bit more this weekend. But obviously, they're out there now. And then we got the coaching changes, right? I'm sure the NFL, 2 jobs that were open heading into today, 1 did get filled. I'm sure the NFL would love to be able to get this done this week and then just be able to concentrate on the game next week. So the Seattle Seagirls, as I like to call them, got their man, Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator, young whippersnapper, if you will. 80s term, 37-year-old, the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Lisi, our boy on Coast to Coast, with his thoughts.
It's not a bad hire because Seattle, from a defensive perspective, does have concerns. That is the weakness of this team. But the concern for McDonald is what can he get out of the offense? I mean, if Pete Carroll and that team struggled for only 9 wins last year, can McDonald take them past that? Because Pete Carroll is a great game planner, right? And he related to the younger players, even though he was an older guy. Can McDonald do that? Or is this going to look like a situation where Arizona with Gannon, they played hard, they covered games, but they just didn't win a lot? So that is going to be a concern, I think. I think when you go up against San Francisco and even now a resurgence with the LA Rams and Sean McVay, maybe the 3rd best team in the conference, record-wise certainly, but what do you get with a first-year coach?
Yeah, I tell you, the concern I have is not what you're going to get out of him, because he's the defensive guy. So he's not all of a sudden, Dave, taking over the Seattle Seahawks offense, right? It's who can he bring in? You might get the old veteran offensive coordinator who thinks, okay, I got a 37-year-old, I'm going to be able to run the show, so here I go. Or, you might get a guy that's like, I'm not going there. 37 years old, the defensive coordinator, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's in a division with San Francisco and the LA Rams with 2 of the best coaches in the game, and I'm going to join that staff. See you later. So it's the concern to me is these young head coaches that get these jobs, can they bring in good coordinators? Because if they're just going to bring in wide receiver coaches, now you got a brand new head coach with no experience, and now you got coordinators with no experience. That's my concern.
It's way above my pay grade. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a book guy. I don't like to judge coaches before they even step a foot in the building, who they're going to get, what they're going to do. It's my least favorite part of this time of year, like when the coaches get fired. Everybody can't wait to talk about why a coach got fired, and then everybody can't wait to talk about why a coach got hired. And I just want to look at college basketball numbers. I want to look at hockey games. I want to look at NBA games this offseason, stuff for the NFL. I don't even pay it any mind. I have no idea what it's going to mean. It doesn't adjust the number. We'll trust the process. And like you said, if you bring in somebody that's going to help the offense, it's probably going to be a good hire. If you keep it status quo, you're going to get status quo.
Yeah. All right, and that's it. Good luck working with Geno Smith, too, in trying to get a winner out of that.
What's wrong with Geno? Why was Geno catching strays?
I'm a Geno guy, actually. I'm one of the few. Yeah. He did, he showed his true colors this year. He's a good quarterback, decent quarterback. Are you going to win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith, though? No. Might get to the playoffs like last year, but.
Yeah, he got hurt, though. Guys get older, they get hurt. It gets harder to come back. He had a, really good year 2 years ago. Expectations got higher. Get dinged up, and San Francisco, the team in their division's in the Super Bowl. So it's still, they pushed their season wins. It was 9. They met expectations, and now they're starting over. How hard do you think it is for a team that have a coach for as long as Carroll was there with the success that he had? How many times do you see they hire a young guy completely kind of different? It's there 3 years. Does he have a chance for success? It's hard.
They cut the age in half when you think about it. He's 36. I said 37, but he's actually 36. So he's the youngest head coach in the NFL. They went from a 72-year-old to a 36-year-old. And that's
coach in the league to the youngest coach in the league. Wow. Okay.
How about
that?
Well,
maybe the music in the locker room will change. That's it. If
go.
nothing else, we'll get different music. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. NBA tonight. We got the Detroit Pistons, one of our favorite whipping boys in action. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
They're trailing Cleveland,
Yes.
although they're covering right now. Only down 7 midway through the third, 81-74. I did like Sacramento. Heat riding a 7-game losing streak, but they're actually losing by 11.
Yep.
And I played Dallas. I grabbed the 13, thinking that Luka was going to play, and they play better on the road, but he's not playing. Kyrie's not playing for the Mavericks, so they're down 4. They're hanging around. Low-scoring game, 22-18, final minute of the first quarter. Can't remember too many Dallas Maverick games being that low-scoring, but what do you think of the NBA board today?
Clips blowing out the Wizards, as expected. Clippers are rolling. I mean, the Clippers are a really good basketball team. There's a lot of people, both on TV, in the books, people that I know, that keep saying the Clippers are the best team in the West. Just start being ready to hear that more and more and more. So there's that number. Obviously, the Bulls are playing the Hornets, and I got the headband ready for the Caruso look if we need it, if the Bulls hopefully cover that spread. What about – Spurs and Magic, again, games that not really a lot of people may be looking at. But I like the Spurs in these spots. They were catching close 6 at home. Magic, very good. Not worthy of laying 6 on the road, really, to anybody, in my opinion. So looking for the Spurs there. And then Nuggets and Thunder. What happened in that game? Because this morning when I woke up, that line was 1.5. And when I look at the close, after I did my other shows and had lunch and then came back and get ready for this, I'm like, 6? 6? Jokic must not be playing, right? Is that what that means? He's out?
Let me see. They're leading.
Probably.
What else is new? So let me see if the Joker, let me go to Denver, box score. I didn't think he was supposed to be out, but he's out. Yeah, you're right. He's out. There you go.
That's you can just see it now with the line screen. It's crazy. The odds, you can see a lot of different things. I always used to call it reading between the lines when you're looking at an odds screen with all the numbers. And, when you do it for as long as I did, you just kind of see things with the lines. 1-6 with Denver, the opponent. Obviously, the best player is out. So, but that doesn't mean they don't win. That doesn't mean they don't cover. We've seen it now. These injury plays have been on the team. Back in the day, it used to, when a guy like Jokic was out, it was an automatic. The book, you just know, let's just try to limit our risk. We're going to get crushed on this game.
Yeah.
For about the last, 5 years, since right before COVID, when all this started, books welcome people to come and lay the second number, the third number, the fourth number. The line keeps moving. The book keeps taking the bets, and more often than not, you see the original number cover. So keep an eye on Denver tonight. They're already up big early. So what about Phoenix or Brooklyn?
When I was my old Louis the Lip days, driving around at nights, I used to have a sales job, driving around at night. I could listen to all these radio stations all over the country, right, in AM radio, the old days, right? So I don't remember the team or their player, but it was an NBA team. And their star player, I was listening to the local radio station, said he's not playing today. I'm like, ooh, okay. Let me pull over right now. Let's looking around for a payphone, right? The old payphone days. So I got my quarters. I always kept the roll of quarters.
This was before the cell phone days?
Oh, yes, before the cell phone days. Before cell phone days, I had my roll of quarters in the car, made sure you had enough rolls. And I called up the guy. I says, local Louis. His name was actually Louis. Give me, we'll just say it was Denver. I forget who it was. What's the Denver line? 3. Okay, give me Denver. And I doubled the bet. He's like, boy, it's a pretty good sized bet, for me. Ooh. I said, yeah, you know what? I just heard that so-and-so's not playing. He's like, you know what? I'll give you the free bet. I'm like, really? You'll give me a free bet? Where do I sign? He says, yeah, for telling me that. Anytime you hear something like that, you call up. I'll give you a free bet, your normal bet. And I said, what are you going to do with the line? He said, we'll probably take it off the board, to tell you the truth. And maybe we'll put it up in 10, 15 minutes with a new line once, the whole world knows he's not playing. But he'd rather get burnt by my $25 bet than, and I think I put it in for $50, than have a guy bet real money find out before they do. So I'll never forget that.
When you usually call and you were 5 times, and then you called and you were 10 times, it immediately set off the thing, you know. Oh, of course. Yeah. So for the kids watching the show, I mean, we had to actually take a quarter and put it in this thing called a payphone and put it in and wait and dial the number. Like, there was no cell phones. This was before the beeper days. It's exciting to actually hear a story like that, because the payphones were a big part of what went on in this business back in the day. Even out in Vegas, there was a bank of payphones outside of books. They were calling Louis the Lip and, you know, Joey the Jaw and all the people back east and in the Midwest with numbers and things like that. That was the beginning of my experience here in Vegas. I came out at, you know, when I was 21 back in the early 90s. I saw a lot of things. I was like, wow, I wonder who they're calling. Because they used to watch the line change and run to make phone calls. And I was like, oh, okay. So did the bet win? I want to know.
You know, I don't know. I don't remember. I honestly, I don't remember. So think about the germophobias picking up those cell phones. Oh, the grease.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the Division 4.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on Sports Grid.
I kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction, or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you could talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, watching a little NBA, little college basketball, some 3 hockey games. First 2 are underway. Third one doesn't start for another hour and a half or so. Ottawa 2-1 over Detroit, and you got the Kings in a nasty, nasty funk, Dave. They've lost 14 of 16, I believe it is. Taking on the Nashville Predators, who blew a 3-0 lead the other night. I did get a little hunch on Nashville, but they are down to 2-0 as they play midway through the second. And then you got the Ottawa Senators leading Detroit 2-1 as the Red Wings blew an early 1-0 lead. And any thoughts on these or the San Jose Sharks coming through for us last night? How about that? Now, we didn't hit our same game parlay, but they did win again, 4-1 their last 5. How about that? Break up San Jose.
Did that guy score a goal last night?
No, he didn't. We didn't have over 3.5 goals anyway. It was 2-0. So.
That was what I wanted to. I get nervous when I wanted to make sure that wasn't the only loss because the parlay was, the Sharks were live and they ended up, winning. And I said, if that guy didn't score, or if that guy scored, the only thing that didn't happen was we didn't get 4 goals. How did we not get 4 goals in a game? You took the alt total, brought it down. It was a big minus. Looked like the thing that was going to be the easiest, and, of course, it didn't get there. So I'm glad to know in a weird way that it wasn't the only loss on the same game parlay. So, because if he would have scored a goal and you'd have gone, how did the game fall under 4? That's a tough one. So I don't know. I said this morning when I looked at the board, under. That's the way I wanted to handicap the hockey. I just went under. You can't lay with any of the favorites, and you really can't take with the Sharks. Like that. They just played last night. It's not enough. It's not enough. Like it's not enough. So total just under. You? Did you have an opinion on? You don't have another same game parlay with this game, do you?
San Jose. I actually do. Believe it or not,
you can't quit this team. This is unbelievable.
You know what it is? I'm part Polish, so the stubbornness comes in when I get to the window a lot of times. So it's the better part of me. It is, but why don't we throw it out there? How about a little SGP time here on the grid? Yeah, that is, it's the stubbornness. It clearly is one of the better parts. Gets me in trouble sometimes. But, we had the same game parlay last night with San Jose versus whoever they were playing. They win the game outright. I forget who the heck it was even. Seattle, exactly, right? So I said, if I don't go back to San Jose tonight and it wins tonight with the same legs, I'm going to be kicking myself. I just, what am I, an idiot? It happened one night, not the other. So let's go right back to San Jose. I'm going to go right back to San Jose plus a goal and a half versus Anaheim. Who are the Ducks to be minus 180, by the way, against anybody, even San Jose? So, but I'm not going to get greedy. I'm just going to take, as we did last night, San Jose plus a goal and a half. I'm going to go with our guy Fabian Zetterlund to get a goal plus 250. They upped it tonight from 220 to 250. We're going to grab over 3.5 goals again. Why not? Minus 750. And then a goal in the first 5 minutes, no. And there you go, plus 762, 7.5 to 1, basically. Not bad.
Yeah. Well, you're stubborn. There's no question about it. I learned more about Fabian Zetterlund last night, and now you came back with him tonight. You did a great job with that graphic. Good job putting that picture up and everything. Game's not going to overtime unless it's a low-scoring, tight affair, so that one's probably going to win. Goal in the first 5.
Too, yeah.
Right? Yeah, goal in the first 5 is another one that, you've told everybody, you've discovered the code that's not going to score the first 5. So that's good. Stay within a goal and a half. I think we got a shot. So it's going to come down to Fabian. I think it's going to come down to Fabian scoring a goal. And he has scored 14 goals this season. Thank you guys very much. It's right there. Plus 220. I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised, but I'm not surprised because you did say you're stubborn. And then it's the gambler feeling. It's the gambler thing. If you don't play it, you'd rather play it and lose than not play it and have it actually hit and not have the money. So I totally get it. And anybody watching the show that's put bets in or understands, it may not make sense to the non-gambler. This is perfect gambling logic. It's exactly right. So let's go Sharks.
It's like the person, right? It's like the person that plays the lotto, and plays the same numbers every single day, whether it's pick 3, pick 4, or just, the regular lotto, right?
Oh.
And he's been playing it for a year, whatever, and they know. They just know if they don't play it, it's going to come in, and that's going to be the end of the world. So I might as well play it knowing that it's going to lose versus risk not playing it and know it's going to come in. So,
it's so funny. I mean, did you know numbers guys? I knew numbers guys back in the day.
No.
That actually, would take the bets and all that other stuff. And the best thing that happened to them was when the person that played the numbers with them didn't play it and their number hit. If you played 609 every day and then you didn't play 609 and you saw that 609 hit, you played it for the next 6 months, whether it hit or not, because you missed the one day it hit. They used to tell me that all the time. They're like, it's good when they hit because then they keep playing. So, and when they miss, they play more. So there you go. All right, go Sharks.
Yeah,
Fabian.
I've told you this story before. When I was younger, went to Atlantic City and had my final $200, and I just said different systems, right? I had all my goofy systems, and I was going to play my lucky number 7, $5, 40 times, hits one time, I win money, and I swear on a stack of Bibles, played it all 40. Even the last 10, I would go double numbers or corner numbers, but. On roll, I swear, on roll number 41, when I was tapped out, the son of a gun came in. I swear to God. That was as mad as I have ever been gambling. And I've been mad quite a few times over the years, right? But I'm like a 17, 18, 19, whatever I was, old kid, and I was fuming. I was
17, 18,
so mad.
19 in a casino. Hold on. Are you
well, maybe, yeah. In Jersey, I think it was 17 back then.
Was it really?
Yeah. Had to be because we were in high school. Yeah.
Wow.
17,
okay.
18. Yeah.
All right. You guys did everything faster back there. I mean, we didn't go to a casino and gamble till we were 21. I mean, do you remember the days walking through the casino? I remember being a little kid the first time in Atlantic City. We were on vacation in Maryland, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. We took the ferry up and we went to Atlantic City, and the security guy made us put our hands, me and my brothers, like this. You can walk through the casino, but you couldn't look or you couldn't stop because we were little kids. They're like, the kids can't be in there. You got to walk. And my grandmother said, put your hands up, boys. We're walking through the casino. And I remember thinking, what are all these lights? What is going on? I was like 9 thinking, can't wait to come back here someday. And now we're talking about sports and gambling and all this other. I can't believe I live in Las Vegas. It's unbelievable.
Now they have, real quick, they have a path. Like if you go to the Connecticut casinos, the Canadians or the Mohegan Sun and whatever, there's actually like a yellow brick road path in the casino that the younger people and patrons can walk through. They can't go off the path. But it allows them actually in the casino to be able to watch people. How goofy is that?
I've worked in casinos with very, very judicious, gung-ho security people. If you step off that path, like the kids say, the little kids say, like the floor's lava. Oh, that floor might have been lava. You touch that off of that path, they're like, sir, ma'am, they can't be here. You can't stop walking. Let's go. People, everybody relax. Like, and growing up in Vegas, my kids have seen and done it all. They're used to casinos. But you're right. There's a lot of other casinos in a lot of other states that you are not allowed to stop. So a yellow brick road, literally, like the Wizard of Oz? Really? Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it was yellow. It's not yellow or not, but it was like a dark brown. But yeah, right. And it's swervy,
Okay.
just to be able to
Okay.
kind of walk through. Yeah. Weird.
I got to get
I'll
there.
never forget when my daughter tossed the dice from the roulette table off the table. Oof.
Oh.
Bells and whistles. You talk about. Right? She's first time there. This was about 6 months ago. And she's actually doing a nice job. She's actually winning, right? She just turned 21. So in Connecticut, it is 21. So we went there for her birthday, and she's winning and stuff. And she's just like, I'm like, Caitlin, just be careful. Just don't, calm down a little when you throw the dice, right? So she throws the dice, goes over the table underneath a casino slot machine.
Oh, boy.
Bells and whistles, security all over the freaking place, shut down everything, don't anybody move. And we stood there for 10 minutes as these mopes couldn't get this one dice that was underneath a slot machine. I'm like, are you serious? Really? Yeah.
New die. New die. Yep. That's it. You got to find that old one, though. Make sure that one comes out of the rotation. You have to find that. That can't stay around because, something nefarious can be done with that. But, yeah, when the dice goes off the table, everything stops. That's an immediate call to the eye in the sky. Who's moving, who's what, who's that. And then they slide the new dice over, and they give it to the shooter. And inevitably, within like 3 rolls, it's 7 out. You're done. That's it. It happens all the time.
Amazing. How do we got Notre Dame? How'd Purdue do? They went to overtime. How about that? Boilermakers by 6, 96-90. Whoa.
Wow.
They were down a couple with 30 seconds left. They must have hit a shot to send it to OT.
Yep.
And Northwestern down 4 now with 28 seconds left. Not going away. But still, you're not going to get the cover. But if you put it in when I said grab them and pick them, you're in a halfway decent spot.
So far, so good. Yep.
Yeah.
Kentucky's up 41-36 at the half. Your Penn State Rutgers under is off to 5 minutes in. 6-3. 3 field goals right there. Total.
I'll take that.
6-3. Yeah, that's a good pace for that. Games coming up here at the top of the hour. Did you look at Providence, Connecticut just started, but what about Auburn laying a gigantic number at home against Vanderbilt? Did you peek at that one? It's like 18.5, 19. Auburn's lost a couple games in a row. I just looked down and saw that and said that's way too many points, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, Vandy stinks, but and Auburn's in a bounce back spot. But you don't see that many blowouts now in these conference games like that. That's a lot.
No.
You got to win by 20 points basically. That's tough, right? With all the upsets happening and everything, unless there's some axe to grind that they kicked our butts last year or something, and you got to have a reason to beat a team by 20 points. So I'd put a
Virginia
little
Notre Dame, by the way, 65-53 final. It's 118.
Wow. So went over. InGame went under, though.
Yes.
At 120.5.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices. And we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division.
I don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro football today. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but a total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on Sports Grid.
I kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you should, that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proof over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the RAC. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you could talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like, OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time, wrapping up hour number one, but still a full hour to go, so don't go anywhere. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time, as we got a bunch of college basketball games that'll be starting top of the hour. Got several others that are already in progress. We got a bunch of NBA games that are in progress and a couple of hockey games to bet on as well. Cam Stewart will join us next hour. Just looking at some of these basketball scores, how about the Pistons actually leading at Cleveland, which has been playing really good basketball. Little surprise, little letdown spot for the Cadavers after they beat the Clippers the other night. So I don't know if Detroit can hold on, but they're up 3 with 6 minutes left. You talk about good betting opportunities. Here's a team that's won, 4 games all year. I can get Pick'em on Cleveland right now at home, down 3 with 6 minutes left. Got to play that, right? I got to play
Absolutely.
that now.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that, again, you only see during the game. In-game wagering has changed so much for the books, for the bettors. You know, that game closed. Let me see what that game closed. It was gigantic. 13.5 is what the closing number was there. So pick them. What is there? 7 minutes left, 6 minutes left, down 3 right now. Yeah. Okay. That's probably not a bad bet. I like the way you're thinking there. What are we doing with let's see. Is it time to bet Connecticut? They're down early to Providence. Like, what point do you look to jump on a favorite that's down? This is too early?
Too early. And I did like Providence. You know, I mentioned that, but, I grabbed them plus the 13. They've hung tough. 8 of the last 9, decided by 12 points or less. Most Connecticut wins, but they're a halfway decent team. Little rivalry there, New England rivalry, Rhode Island versus Connecticut, next door neighbors. A lot of Rhode Island fans probably there. So
go for a middle.
Yeah.
Like 3.5, 4.5. You have 12.5 or 13.
Yeah.
Work it.
If I can get that, absolutely. Yeah. Hour number 2 coming up.